Ah, oh fuck.
Oh my god, young man.
Excuse me.
Kill yourself!
Oh fuck. Whew, that was cold. Howdy fuckwits and gentlemen. Welcome back to another Dying Light 2 video. I'm gonna keep it short and simple today. I'm gonna be talking about gear armor class ideas I had for a while. After taking the fattest nap in human existence, that has accidentally led me to the Pentagon and eventually to Timbuktu. So, let's get into it. The first gear armor class idea I had in mind is called Nimble, and here is the description. The Nimble class prioritizes on being far more agile and very flexible with your movement, allowing you to dodge attacks much more easier and move around far quicker. The Nimble class mainly prioritizes on increasing Aiden's base movement speed, jumping effectiveness, and his dodging capability. However, the only issue with the class is that it provides the lowest protection than the rest of the armors. But for now, let's get into the statistics. The first stat that it provides is the increased movement speed towards walking, running, and sprinting, allowing you to reach certain gaps much more faster and to your destinations much more quicker. Aiden's jumping effectiveness has been increased, meaning he can either jump higher upwards or further much more than normal. This also affects on skills that make Aiden jump higher or further, example being double jump, landing jump, far jump, and enemy jump. Faster climbing speed over obstacles and ledges, including parkour moves. In short, you are able to perform parkour moves much more faster and climb over ledges or obstacles far quicker. Reduce delay between dodges. What this essentially means is that whenever you normally dodge, there's like a split-second delay before you can perform another dodge. This just simply reduces it.
You fat piece of shit!
Faster recovery time when knocked or staggered. Whenever you get hit by a heavy attack, either being from a demolisher, goon, or renegade, Aiden gets knocked on the ground or sometimes staggers and takes his time to get back up on his feet. This statistics alone just makes him be able to recover much more faster. As previously said, the only issue with the Nimble gear armor is that it only provides maximum of 25 maximum gear armor at a max level. So the only issue is, you may have high movement speed, but if they catch you, your ass is gonna be fucking pummeled to the concrete floor and be pissed on the ground. And here is the outfit style I chose. But if you want a very short or simple definition of the Nimble class, here it is. Dodge the IRS, dodge your taxes, fuck child support, and good luck avoiding alimony, cause the FBI is soon enough gonna catch your fucking ass. So no matter how fast you are, the FBI is gonna come barging into your fucking door and beat your ass to a pulp. That's it. So, the second class idea I had in mind is called the Executioner. So, the Executioner mainly focuses on providing bonuses effects whenever you perform on an execution on any enemy, and it also makes them be far easier to execute by your own hands. As the name suggests, it focuses on giving you booster effects each time you perform an execution on any enemy that is executable, and it also makes them far more easier to execute, so you can be able to spam the execute button much more quicker. So, here are the statistics. Depending on the rarity, you will be able to perform executions much more faster. However, your base damage is reduced depending on the rarity. Example being, your base damage is decreased by 15% if it's a common rarity. However, if it's an artifact quality, it only reduces it by 5%, as a prime example. It also reduces the enemy's consciousness meter much more quicker. For some of you that don't know, the consciousness meter is basically the white bar under their health. So in short, you are able to perform the executions much more quicker because you do bonus damage to the consciousness meter, aka the white bar. After performing an execution, you gain damage reduction that affects towards every enemy, whether that being zombies, human enemies, or any sort of like elemental effects like fire, spit, or electricity. There will also be a timer depending on the RNG. Gain bonus damage after performing an execution. This damage increase affects towards everyone, human enemies, and zombies. The stamina cost after performing an execution is reduced for either melee or ranged. This stamina cost bonus effect will only apply after the execution is finished. Your swinging speed is increased after performing an execution. depending on the RNG of course. So, the Executioner I feel like is a far more interesting one, mainly because normally you deal less damage, but each time you perform an execution, you become far more stronger than normal. But the only issue is, you can't really execute bigger enemies like Demolishers, Goons, or even fucking Volatiles for that matter, which is depressing and can set this class a little bit back, but if Techland could be able to make those enemies executable, it would be fantastic, and can even make this class even more powerful, but I highly doubt they'll even add something like this. So, the good thing about this is the fourth tankiest armor in the game, coming at a maximum armor value at 37 at max level, and here's the outfit of choice. But if you want a better definition of this fucking class, basically, you become a fucking crime against humanity. You give a poor woman that you found on the street a quick love tap to the head and go on a killing spree, causing a genocide. And yes, I fucking mean it. No, I'm not fucking around. So, back to the topic. The third class I have in mind is called the Engineer. Originally this was supposed to be called the Demolition, but I decided to do some changes and add some interesting facts. Well, not entirely facts, but I added some interesting little spices in there. So, here's the description. The Engineer mainly improves the effectiveness and the strength of your modifications, causing them to deal far more damage than usual, and it makes any sort of explosion you cause be more lethal than anything. So here are the statistics. Increases the charging effectiveness on your modded weapons. Example being, reducing the passive charge time on certain mods, reducing the amount of hits required to charge a mod, or increasing the chance of the effect to apply. This statistic is also affected on the grip mods, like example being the reinforcement mod that increases the durability of your weapon. This statistic makes the reinforcement have a better durability than having without the Engineer outfit. This also affects on the empowerment and increases the damage. Increases the base damage of the weapons and the mod itself. What this essentially means is, normally whenever you apply a mod on a weapon, it passively increases their damage by 16%, and with the Engineer outfit applied, that passive damage increase is increased, essentially. But you must have the weapon modification applied in order to make the statistic work. And the modification's base damage upon being applied to an enemy is increased as well. What this essentially means is every time you apply the modification on an enemy, it applies a bonus damage that happens like instantly. And that base damage that when it applies is just increased, essentially. Let's get into the interesting part. Let's get into the fucking meaty part of this outfit. So, the first stat you're going to be noticing that is very unique is it increases the damage of any explosion you cause. Meaning like grenades, C4s, landmines, the Peacekeeper trap car, propane tanks, and etc. But it also increases the explosion radius that you cause. But you might be thinking, but doesn't that kill me? Because bigger explosion means that I get more damaged. You are correct. However, the Engineer class has a increased damage resistance towards any sort of explosion whatsoever, so you won't be able to kill yourself and cause a kablooey. Much more easier. I wanted this armor to be in the middle ground essentially. I don't want it to be a little bit too tanky, nor I want it to be a little bit too weak. I'm talking about the gear armor, of course. So the amount of gear armor this class will have will be somewhere around between either 30 to 33 at max level. I kind of wanted to... I'm actually genuinely surprised that Techland did not have a class that mainly focuses on causing explosions, which is kind of weird, but I'm not going to question it because explosions are not really that much used in Dying Light 2, which I don't really blame them because they kill you more than helping you, actually, so yeah. So this class will be able to help you much more easier and cause a fucking kerfuffle and maybe perhaps causing arson much more easier. The final class I had in mind is called the Scrapper. The Scrapper is a heavy class that mainly practices on dealing high amounts of damage with a powerful swing. However, sacrificing your base swinging speed to be lowered in exchange for a far powerful power attack. That sounds like a fucking tongue twister, but nonetheless. So, skills like Power Attack, Ground Pound, and Windmill will be affected by this skill no matter what. So these stats are a little bit more unique than the rest of the class because it actually reduces your base swinging speed in exchange for a higher damage on your power attacks. So, depending on the quality, low quality of the armor means your swinging speed is heavily reduced, like a lot. But higher quality means the swinging speed reduction is less. It's not much, but it's still like there. But your power attacks are significantly faster to swing. This also includes the ground pound and windmill. Like I said, this armor pack effects on power attacks, windmill, and ground pound. But let's get back into it. Your power attacks deal far more damage than normal. The stamina cost for performing a power swing is reduced. Your ground pound's shockwave radius is heavily increased, regardless of what type of weapon you are using. Your windmill's range is increased, regardless of what type of weapon it is and how long your weapon is. Your movement speed while charging a power attack has been increased. This will be the third tankiest armor in the game, coming in at a maximum armor value on 40. And it is a far more unique one than the rest because you're sacrificing one element for another element that is powerful. Basically, your base swinging speed is slow, but you charge up a powerful attack that makes Goku look like a fucking immature little child that cannot hit for shit. Yes, I fucking don't like Goku because no matter where the fuck I go in any sort of fictional character that is quote-unquote strong, there's always going to be that one degenerate glue sniffer out there. It's like, Goku's strong, he destroy universe. I was like, okay, we get it. He is powerful, but you don't need to fucking bring him up in every action possible. We get it. I don't watch anime, so I don't know anything about Goku, but from what I'm hearing, that fucker's powerful. But is he powerful then? You know what? I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to spoil it. No, it's a bit too early for that. No, sir. I'm working on something privately, so I'm not showing anything. Fuck you. To describe the Scrapper class in short, it is basically a drunk dad on a Thursday afternoon that just recently saw his football team. So, it's not soccer, you fucking Americans, deal with it. His football team fail incredibly bad, and instead of beating the TV, he decides to go beat his son. Good lord, that is actually dark. I should not be thinking of that. Okay, I'm sorry. But that is all I have so far. Even though they may seem simple, but that's practically the point of it. The point is that they're meant to be more matched together with other classes. The reason being is that they themselves are not particularly great, but they are better to be used in combinations with others. Basically think of them as like subclasses in Team Fortress 2. Demoman into Demonite, heavy with Fat Scout, Soldier to Troller, and etc. You get what I'm saying. Example being like the combination of using Scrapper and Tank, Engineer with Brawler, and etc, etc. I kinda want Techland to add more armor to the game and much more class variety because the current system we have so far is not particularly bad, but it's not particularly good either because we don't really have a lot of stuff to really mix and match with, so having more classes to be able to combine together would be more interesting and allow us to sort of experiment more stuff. Of course, I highly doubt that Techland will fucking add any of these ideas I have, but it's interesting nonetheless. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. Now, if you excuse me, I'm going to go ahead and fucking ransom some poor innocent soul that tried to blackmail me for centuries. So, adios.